Excited to add him. We felt like we needed to add depth there in the secondary, and he's a guy that can come in and really compete in multiple roles for us and provide depth outside and inside, and really liked the intangibles he'll bring to the table as well. So excited to welcome him to the mix.
Did he come on the radar even as you were watching Dax Hill last year? You know, is that a thing where you're like, these guys can play well together?
I would, for me personally, no. Maybe some of the scouts would be able to say that. You know, typically you're honed in on the guy you're watching when you're watching some of those DBs, and Michigan's had some good ones. You know, so there's a lot of them on the tape there.
Did you talk to Dax part of the process at all of like, you know, what'd you think?
Yeah, we just got off the phone with Dax, and once the pick was official, and you know, I know Chuck Burks had talked to Dax quite a bit, and Jordan Kovacs and those guys. So again, we're not necessarily making all those phone calls, but our guys in the building had been doing that.
Lou, you always say you can never have too many edge rushers and corners. So how happy are you so far?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, you're at premium positions, and that's what it takes in this part of the draft is to get those players because they seem to disappear pretty quick. So happy with yesterday, and then you know, now we get a corner with great speed and it's got good length, and you know, he's played a lot of football, so we feel good about it.
He's not the biggest guy in the world, but you look at him and the explosion, testing, obviously the 40-yard dash stands out. How important are all of those things when you're evaluating a corner that might not be 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah, you take the whole thing and put it together, and I think he's got a little bit of ways to go from a weight standpoint, but man, you can put some weight on, you can't make him 4'2". So that's something that, you know, the explosiveness that he has in his body. He's a tough guy. He'll throw his body around, so it's not that he won't try to tackle or anything like that. So we feel like we're getting a complete player.
Lou, how do you judge or evaluate just a pure outside guy versus a guy in turn you see can play multiple roles?
I mean, I think there's a bunch of different ways to look at it. This guy, I think, does have some flexibility, but we're certainly starting him outside, and you know, he's done some of the inside work. I think yesterday we were talking about it's over 600 some odd snaps outside, so he's primarily an outside guy. But you know, you get him in the building, you move him around, and you see what we thought we saw on tape, and we think we got a guy that can do some different things, and we'll see when we get him here.
Could he kind of be this year's Zac Taylor?
Oh, we'll see. You know, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out.
Lou, you lost two veterans in Vaughn and Jesse, obviously, and now you guys are building a very young, but talented and fast secondary. How do you think it's playing out so far?
Yeah, it's playing out great. But we still have great veterans in that room. You know, Cheeto, Mike Hilton. You know, we brought in Nick. You know, Mike Thomas is in that. We've got guys that have been around this league for a long time to teach these guys, you know, our way and the right way to do things. So we'll miss those guys, but you know, we've got great leadership and great players in that room still.
Zach, after choosing Miles Murphy last night, you talked about the importance of putting pressure on the quarterback. Mm-hmm. This is the other half of that, right? In the current state of the NFL, defending the pass, you got to have both, right?
No doubt, and you know, this guy's just competitive, you know, and Lou mentioned toughness, and that's what you see. You know, that's the perspective I look at from the offensive side of the ball is these DBs, man, ones that compete and are tough are valuable, and he's got the speed to match it. And, you know, he's played in pro systems before in Michigan, you know, so we certainly value that as well. And so we think we're adding the right guy to the mixer.
What was the pre-draft process with him like? Did you guys meet with him a couple times, or what was that like with him specifically?
I didn't. You know, Chuck Burks, there's oftentimes the position coach will meet with him, and our scouts have met with him at a variety of different places, but face-to-face in my office, I haven't done that.
When he talks about pro systems, what is it about Michigan's defense and their scheme that maybe is conducive to what y'all like to do and maybe can help him transition over?
Just doing very different coverages and things like that. But, you know, there's a lot of teams that do it, but they do, you know, some things that translate into our league. Plays a small role in the evaluation process. It's not the only piece, but it certainly helps when you can see him do multiple things.
Lou, does the fact that Dax knows him and the two of them, I'm sure, speak the same football language to a certain extent, does that help in terms of learning the playbook and learning the way around here?
Well, I think that, they'll know each other, and Dax can kind of give them the lay of the land a little bit. But, and then if they're out there at the same time, they've played together before. So it certainly helps. It's just a piece to the puzzle. But the familiarity that they both have with each other can only help.
You mentioned the 4-2-6. And obviously there's not plenty of guys, but there are guys that can run that but don't necessarily play that fast. Did that line up for you? The play speed versus the
Yeah, you see it. You see it on tape. It's a good question, because you'll see guys that have great time speed and it doesn't match their play speed, and vice versa. But this guy can run, and you see it on tape. If he gets out of position, he can get back in it because of his speed. DBs in our league today, they're gonna get beat. They're going to get out of position, and this guy has the recovery speed to get back in and maybe make a play on the ball. So that's one of the things that we really liked.
Zach mentioned the competitiveness. Does that include tackling? Because I know you're obviously very fond of corners who can tackle very well and have a number of them already here.
Yeah, for sure. He will throw his body around, and he's proven that, certainly in the Big Ten, and in playoff games and in big games. So, you see his physicality, and he's proven he can do it.
Will this be one of the faster secondaries you've coached, and what does so much high-end speed in the secondary do for you?
Well, I just think again, when you look around the league and the weapons that so many teams have on offense and the speed that people have, you got to try to match it somehow. And, the faster guys we can get, certainly is going to give us an advantage. We're going to have to chase quarterbacks around, and that means you have to cover a little bit longer. And, the faster we are, I think the better chance we have to get off the field.
You mentioned the pro cell that he played in, but how much of it is a benefit to kind of see him play other top programs, Ohio State, playing college football playoff games, things like that, and just see him against that type of competition?
Oh, it's huge. I think when they come from big programs like this, they're going to walk into the stadium, and they're going to be used to the place being full, and they're not going to flinch when it comes to that part of it. So, you like the guys coming from the bigger programs, and he's from one of the biggest.
Last year you get Cam Taylor-Britt in the second round. You get him, DJ Turner, second round this year. How much do you kind of see any resemblance, any differences between him and Cam at all?
They're a little bit different. Both fast. Cam's a little bit bigger of a guy, but both very, very competitive. Both want to win. Both have great attitudes about football. They love the game. So there are some similarities, but body type's just a little bit different.
The big knock, whatever. Everyone has a flaw, but would be his arm length. I guess that's something that was talked about. Does his quickness, speed, all of those things, does that help make up for it?
I just think the way the guy moves, changes direction, not only in the long part of it with his long speed, but he can really, in the short area quickness stuff, is really excellent. So I think that helps offset some of the other things.
Zach, when you look at how you guys are building the team, I mean, only Lou gets to talk on Thursdays and Fridays, I guess. I mean, first 3 rounds last year, first 2 picks this year. But, I mean, is that by design of, hey, let's build this young offense that can kind of grow together, or is that more of a kind of a coincidental thing?
Coincidental is the way I'd put it. It's I think that's just, again, going back to Duke, the way that this roster has been built has allowed us the flexibility to take the best players available. This hit us a good need at corner. But at the same time, if we didn't have somebody there that we valued here in the second round, we wouldn't have taken a corner. We would have gone to a different position. And so I just think that there's not a lot of glaring holes here. It's a lot of guys that are going to have opportunity to get on the field, probably initially in depth roles, and then work their way up. And that's ideally the way that you're going into the draft. You're not seeing a glaring hole that a starter role that you got to fill. These guys can come in the right way and learn the systems, and then integrate themselves in the locker room and start to earn more playing time. And so that's just a credit to how our scouting department's really built our roster and allowed us to go into the draft. And who knows, maybe there's an offensive player that you liked, and all of a sudden they get snatched off, and then there's the next defense player you got. And so I feel really good about how we're built, how we're continuing to build it, and just the way that we've taken really the best players available.
Do you like that? I mean, do you like a bunch of...
Do I like getting good players in the first and second round? I do.
Like that part. A bunch of young players coming in together that kind of grow. Can those guys kind of play off each other and develop a little bit of their own identity within your own team?
I think so. I think if they were the only ones and they were just left alone as young players and they were just coming into a building full of young players, then I think it might be a problem. But the veterans that we have on the team and the way we go about our business, I think they're fortunate to come to us, and the way that our players treat them. And will help them grow in this league, along with the coaches, obviously, is second to none in my opinion. So I think it's an advantage for us, and I think it's an advantage for the young guys to come into our building.
In fact, there was a lot of movement ahead of you, ahead of pick 60 there. Was that a little stressful watching the guys move up?
No, you just never know what position it's about. It does seem like there's been a lot of movement. Feels like more than normal. Yeah, so that's just the way it goes, and you just sit tight and hope the player that you want is there, and DJ was there for us, and so we were excited about it.
Zach, you've let Lou dominate the draft so far, again, in the first 2 rounds. Is there a point tonight where you think offensive weapon, is that something this team might still address?
I think we're in a good position to keep taking the best player available here, and obviously we've checked some boxes at some key spots, but I still think that there's good players on the board that we had high up there that we're hopeful to be there in the second round for this pick that may still be around, and I can't wait to get up there and see who the last 5 picks are and if we lost anybody we like. But that's just kind of part of the fun of day 2 and seeing what's around there and what other teams are valuing.
DJ was off the board. Would you guys have been looking at another quarterback at that pick?
Yeah, I won't go that far to say what our next need was there, but there's still good players that we like there.
Following up on need, Cheeto's coming back from a torn ACL. Cam Taylor-Britt's played 1 year. Sidney Jones has had some injury problems in his career. How vital was it to not only add depth, but to get a guy who, if pressed into service, can play and play a significant role right away?
I believe if there's 2 positions you can say you can never have enough players over 17-game season plus the play, it's defensive line and corner, and so that's just anytime there's a good player there that's going to help you. I don't think you're ever wrong, hitting at those 2 spots. And again, we feel like we've got really high-end players at all those spots, but it never hurts you to take a guy that you think fits your system and what you want to do. And you could argue a couple other spots, but those are 2 key spots to me. I think that you're never wrong adding valuable players there.
Zach, when you look at it from an offensive perspective, what challenges does it pose when a defense has so much speed like you guys have?
Yeah, that's the tough part is when they can rush you, like we can rush people, and then there's the speed in the back end to cover it and not have some glaring opportunities to throw and catch, and so again I feel good about how this thing's being built.
All right, thanks, Zach and Lou.
See you guys in a little while.